Good morning, MedTubers. Today we're looking at our language shelf. It includes letter recognition jobs and then moves on to word building and reading more complex words. We use the California Phonetic Reading Program, which is the program that they offered at my training center. So it's the one that I learned. Although I have taught several different phonetic reading programs, this is the best one, in my opinion, having worked with many. I'll post a link for it so that you can kind of check it out for yourself. But for now, we're just going to kind of go through the jobs that we have on the shelf. We're going to talk about them and why we chose them and a little bit about how we use them. But later, I will be sure to post some videos on specific lessons. If you're interested in anything specific, again, drop us a comment, let us know what you're looking for so that we can kind of tailor some videos in the future. And as always, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
But let's take a look at what we've got. So the beginning of the shelves, and these in most cases would be considered pre-reading because they're still practicing letter sounds. But in our classroom, we don't need a separate pre-reading shelf, and we do have a few things on our writing shelf that we looked at last time. So for us and the environment that we have, this is an okay setup. So I have my letters, I have the alphabet divided into sets of letters. And the sets are very purposeful, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And I got this little set off of Etsy, and I messaged the woman and I asked her to make the cards in the letter sets that I wanted, so that each set represents the next set of letters that my son would be using, or that my daughter will be using eventually, in these materials here. So it's cohesive throughout the whole thing. And then these little tiles are usually in here, and they take them out and then they match them with the beginning sounds. This is kind of the same thing, except it's separated by letter, and then inside it is a bunch of pictures that start with R, and then S, T, M, and A, and A, which is the same letters that are here. So this job reinforces this job and vice versa. And then same moves on to this one. Let me see, somewhere the letters are written. You can see all the letters that are in this one, and they coincide with the letters on this tray, which is missing its bowl. And then so on. So the next set of letters is there, and then the job that goes with it, letters, job. So they start here working on this basket where every job or every picture in this pocket starts with So they can put out and they can go through the pictures and they can say rocks, razor, what else is in here? Robot, and so on. And they reinforce that sound so that when they get to here, they know what says because they've practiced it here so many times. These jobs are very repetitive. They ask a child to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat the same sounds. That's the way that we learn what this representation says, by practicing it. So it seems repetitive, and it is, and it's on purpose. So the entire first shelf is just those two jobs repeated. In 5 different letter groups. So the first letter group, and then the second job, the second letter group, and its second job, third, fourth, fifth. Normally I would have some more things or more varieties of materials with those letter groups to help kids practice and help multiple children practice at the same time. But again, in our homeschool classroom, when it's just us, we don't really need that. So all of that there, you can see my husband and the kids made Hot Wheel tracks this weekend. The tracks are still laying across our classroom. Anyway, so all of this stuff here is to prepare for these materials here. Now, during my training, learned the California Phonetic Reading Program. That was the program that my training center developed back in the 60s or 70s. And so that's what they train, that's what they use in their school, and that is what I use. I have yet to find a beginning reading program that is as well thought out and comprehensive as this one. And I have looked at quite a few. The pink, blue, and green level that most Montessori classrooms use is a close second, but once you get onto the pink level and beyond, it's not as well thought out as these levels in the California Phonetic Reading Program. I will tag a link to the California Phonetic Reading Program because it is something you can purchase from the training center, and then you would have it on your shelves. So I purchased it as part of my training, and then I made these little baskets. We can go through these at another time. I will make another video and kind of show the progress or the progression of these materials. But so they're broken up by vowel, A, E, I, O, and U. You can see it written on the baskets right there. So a child who is practicing these skills over here and is learning this first basket of letters, once they know those 6 letters, they can do this entire basket. So they don't have to wait until they complete this entire shelf and learn the entire alphabet to come over here and start actually reading and word building, which is one of the reasons that I love this program, the California Phonetic Reading Program specifically. So they use those baskets as they're beginning their first introductions to word building. And they, with that basket, with the bag that they've taken from this basket, they will get a movable alphabet. I have 2 movable alphabets. I bought them again as part of my training. This is a spot where I chose not to skimp on materials, and I got the Nienhuis version only because Nienhuis was the only one that offered letters that weren't wooden. So these are plastic letters. They're tiny little, let me see if I can get it to focus. They're plastic letters and they're thin. So in this basket, there's like 1.5 million D's in this basket. And I like that because the ones that are wooden, like maybe 4 or 5, fit in this basket. And so once you've written out some words, or once you get into longer words, you always run out of letters. So I liked these, and yes, they were more expensive, but I wanted to have enough letters to write the words that they wanted to write. So they will get this, or my son or my daughter will get this off of the shelf, and they'll take it and they'll write out these words. After they've finished all of the yellow words, or the yellow baskets, they move down here. I have color-coded these for myself, just because I had these CD holders and I utilized them. They can be color-coded really in any way that you want, but these are the next step, which is letter blends. This step is important because it doesn't ask them to create new sounds. Like there's no SH in this basket because SH is a new sound. It's not a consonant blend. So you'll not find any SH or CH. You won't even find CK in this batch because those aren't blended sounds. They are new sounds, or they are special rules. Like CK is not a blended sound. It's also not a new sound. It's just an extra letter. So that's not in here. This entire basket of stuff is all completely honest letter blends, which is the biggest difference I have found in this program versus others. And then it moves on to more difficult sounds and so on. Oh, you can't, there. Silent E's, and then it goes on to other vowel patterns and other rules. You can see couch is in there, oi, O-I, making the oi sound, the silent L at the end, call, and so on. So that is a little about the California Phonetic Reading Program, and it is a full tour of our current reading shelf. I do want to mention real quick that if we didn't have this entire shelf, you know, this side and then a second side, you know, if we didn't have this much space, I would absolutely have, if need be, I would have all of the letter packets in one long basket. if need be. If not, I would at least put all of these on a top shelf, and then if all of these had to go into one tray, I would just take all of them, and I would put all of them together. Or maybe I would put these on a tray with 5 different baskets. Oh, hey, wait, I found the other bowl. So I might put these on one bigger tray, like a cookie sheet or something, with 5 little baskets, so that they know that this basket contains the letters for this one, and so on. And I would kind of label them somehow, like I'd put a little star here and a star on this basket, and then a circle here and a circle on the second bowl, so that they knew which bowl to get with which basket, if they had to be on, or with which sheet, if they had to be on the same shelf. That's what I would do. So I wanted to mention that because I know that sometimes space is limited in our homeschool environment. Sometimes we're literally down to a single shelf. So saving space with the materials that we choose to put out is a necessity. Another option would be, if you only have one student who's utilizing this material, only put out what they're working on. If they're only working on this letter set, just put these out. I mean, that takes your thing down from 3 shelves that I have to half a shelf. And that's a huge difference when you're trying to, cut down on space and make sure that everything is efficient as it can be. So the options for setting materials out are only limited by, what you are able to do and how creative you can get with the way that you display it. It doesn't have to all be out on a shelf all the time and in single pieces. So I just wanted to make sure that that was specified, because I don't want anyone to think that in order to have a successful homeschool environment with the Montessori philosophy that you need tons and tons of space, because you absolutely don't. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to drop a comment below. Don't forget, you can always subscribe to our channel and get notifications on videos that we are posting. Thanks, guys.